Okay, last show of the week. I'm feeling pretty weak. We made it. Here we are. How are you? Anyway, hi. It's Wednesday. No, it's Thursday. Today is Thursday. It says so up there. It says Thursday up there, therefore it must be Thursday. I'm a bit boggled and bewildered, partially because taking tomorrow off. Amy is having her birthday this weekend, and we are taking the time off to do things that are fun. Safely, I might add. We've been pretty much quarantined for, like, ever, so we'll mask up, and we'll go out and do a few things, and then we'll come home, and we'll call it good. This is without the fancy ring light. I was just looking at how the differences are, what happens here. You see, like, wham. Now, the question is, do I look like I'm all washed out? Now, I can't tell from this side, honestly, and I'm partially because the camera drivers changed and the display drivers changed, and also partially because I have absolutely no skill in this area. So that's where we stand. We'll do some songs. We'll have some fun. We'll see how it goes. Yeah? Yeah. I would now like to play a medley of my hit. Is that loud enough? Do you know my friend from Faire? Do you know my friend from Faire? He's 4 foot taller, and he's got browner sandy hair. And he has a hat and tankard, and he wears these great big boots. He wanders around in a loincloth or one of them doublet suits. Stands out in the crowd. He's very distinctive. Do you know my friend from Faire? Do you know my friend from Faire? He's a unique individual, no one else can compare. For he always sings or juggles as he goes about the town, and he always has a great big sword that ought to narrow it down. I mean, you'd know him if you see him, right? I'm sure you've seen him. Do you know my friend from Faire? Do you know my friend from Faire? If you saw him coming down the road, you'd have to stop and stare. Don't recall if it's pickles, pretzels, or if it's popcorn that he sells. You can hear him coming from a mile away on account that he wears bells. Jingle bang, jingle bang, jingle. Bang, jingle, bang, jingle. Do you know my friend from Faire? Do you know my friend from Faire? He's the coolest guy in all the world, I truly do declare. If you saw my butt in person, then you'd know of whom I speak. For he dresses like a pirate, now isn't that unique? Yep. Pirate. With pointy ears. Elf pirate. And gossamer wings. Fairy, elf pirate. And a kilt. Scottish fairy elf pirate. And horns. Demon Scottish fairy elf pirate. And fangs. Vampire demon Scottish fairy elf pirate. And goggles with gears stuck to them. Steampunk vampire demon Scottish fairy elf pirate. And big furry boots. Barbarian steampunk vampire demon Scottish fairy elf pirate. And a kilt. No, let's have a kilt. And a foxtail. Nobody knows why. Do you know my friend from Faire? I think I saw him over there. His name is Wolf or Hawk or Raven, or I think it might be Bear. Well, we've never met outside of Faire, but I'm sure he'll be along. Sure he'll be along. Hey, wait a minute. I'm talking about you. You. I guess I'll end the song. There we go. Wow, that song really is going to collapse under its own weight eventually. Yes, a medley of my hit, My Friend from Faire. Whew. This kind of goes on and on, doesn't it? I'm kind of hoping that as we roll forward, we will actually be able to have time for people to laugh in the midst of that, because there's an awful lot of really familiar sounding descriptive phrases that are used. And I'm kind of hoping that that catches on and that it works out all right. Now, I have written all this stuff down as to what I'm going to do, and I wrote it down in my notebook, but I put a whole bunch of stuff on top of my notebook because I'm not that organized today. That's the next thing I'm going to do. The next song we're going to do as we perform a medley of my hit is a song that I wrote when I was trying to write a song for Jana Zepp. Sorry, Jana. Really, although I think she'll like it if she does hear it eventually. Get this thing down here. The baritone ukulele. The baritone uk. With its built-in tuner, which is convenient, because I never think to tune this dang thing before I actually do the bloody show. You know, the funny thing about these tuners is it's like that tap in the shower. It has like 2 or 3 and a communicator. You know what, Joseph? I'm gonna keep that one in mind. I kind of like that. I think we may file that in there. But it is a lot like doing this tuning thing is a lot like getting the shower the right temperature, because you know, it's like nothing, way too freaking much. And so here we go. Get into really? There it is. Dread Peasant Festus. That's what I'm looking for, because I'm going to be playing this song next, The Dreaded Peasant Festus. An epic tale of a man who started in humble beginnings, and he stayed there. And once again, the notes do say, play with unjustifiable grandeur. He came from a tiny village just outside of Aberdeen, and his face, it was not noble, and his clothes, they were not clean. But there's often been a hero that has come from such a start. Our man Festus wasn't one of them. He was neither brave nor smart. There are heroes, myths, and legends was not that man. There are some men bound for glory, bound for riches or for fame, and among that noble roll call, you will not find Festus's name, for his voice it was not noble, nor his bearing very fine, and he towered over no one at the height of 4'9". There are heroes, myths, and legends that are known throughout the land, but the dreaded peasant Festus was not that man, but from lowly circumstances some men rise among the rest. Not that Festus ever tried hard, well, that there is just my own guess. But in noble battle some men can achieve beyond compare, and on the battlefield of Hastings our man Festus was not there. There are heroes, myths, and legends that are known throughout the land, but the dreaded peasant Festus was not that man. Thoughtful part. There are legendary figures doomed to fade away obscure, and our peasant Festus suits that. At least we think we're pretty sure. There is not much known of Festus. Peasantry builds little pride. Matter of fact, a lot we're sure of. Well, we're all pretty sure he died. There are heroes, myths, and legends that are known throughout the land, but the dreaded peasant Festus was not that man. And there we go for that one. Yes, the dreaded peasant Festus. One of those songs that I honestly hope is still funny to y'all. Because I think it's funny. I think it's amusing. I think it's entertaining. I hope to God you do too. It's not one of those big peppy zippy songs that I have a penchant for, but it is, I think, entirely the sort of thing that I could play at a Renaissance festival and get away with it. And getting away with it is half the battle. G.I. Joe. Red and blue lasers are the other half of the battle. Extreme violence. Very much the other half of the battle. Oh my gosh. So this next song. Let me tell you a little something about this next song. This next song was basically inspired by the internet, because the good folks over at Tested posted a repeat of a video they had done back in 2015 when Mythbusters was still running and when Chris Hadfield was still up in the International Space Station. And what they did is that Mr. Hatfield and and Chef Desjardins down on Earth figured out how to do something that was very, very close to a burrito in space. there's some logistical challenges. And if you have not checked out this video over here, consider checking it out, because in space, very few people can hear you put together decent Mexican food. And I did a pretty good job of it. And I looked at that like space burrito. And my brain went. And then I had to write a song. This song is almost entirely in sixth chords, which is really bizarre. I'm very fond of seventh chords. I don't do a lot with sixth chords. But this song, which kind of has a similar vibe to it for that like Platypus Postman does and that kind of thing. It's kind of one of those songs that if I wasn't this way all the time, you might think it was written while I was on something. Other than just the fact that I just giggle a lot when I wrote it. We will now attempt to play it. See what I mean? Space burrito, burrito in space. 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 Flying high above Mother significant girth. Flour tortilla floats into the room. Space burrito will save us from doom. Space burrito, burrito in space. 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 Space chefs Hatfield and Desjardins. Use some black beans and zero-G greens. Warm some carne and freeze-fried Tabasco, and there she goes. Space burrito, burrito in space. 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 Zero-G dining was such a chore. It's greater than the stuff we had before. Like a quesadilla, but there's much more. Better than the space sandwich of yore. Space burrito, burrito in space. Burrito in space. Space burrito, burrito in space. Space burrito, burrito in space. Arguably one of the goofiest songs I've ever written so far. But also, that's I pretty much followed the recipe. I think I threw in the greens. I don't think they actually had greens. I know they're growing greens up in the ISS, so they may very well have tossed them in there. But you can see from the picture over here, This is the actual space burrito. It was kind of more of a quesadilla, but that's because it's very hard to properly roll a burrito in zero gravity when you don't have aluminum foil to hold the whole thing together. So there's that. Also, space sandwich. If you go looking up on Atlas Obscura, there's actually a story about the sandwich that was smuggled onto one of the, I think it was one of the Apollos or Geminis. And the thing about smuggling stuff onto rockets that are going up into space is that all the weight is very carefully calculated, and you can get in real trouble for sneaking stuff on there. There's actually a great list of things that astronauts snuck on, figuring they could, then when they landed, they could come back and they could sell us. These things have been in space. Yeah. The sandwich, I think, was just because the astronaut was hungry, but there's more detail on that in Atlas Obscura, in case you're curious. Yeah. So, of all the conversations to get into, right? There it is. I mean, that's just the way the world works, and that's the way my head works. That's 2 original songs this week. I can't guarantee that's going to happen every time. It has to happen when my brain goes off and just says, "Here, write about me." It's like, oh, well, fine, I have to now, don't I? I'm still working on Llama of Justice, which is, there was one of those rallies, many rallies that have happened, was people are protesting the unpleasant way that Americans are being treated. And apparently there was a couple of very extremist far-right groups that were coming out, and they were going to be all armored up and looking really butch. And the left-wing side people brought a llama. And that would be the Llama of Justice. I have a picture of that. When I finish Llama of Justice, I will play it, and I will show the picture, and we will all go, "This has been the weirdest dang year ever." So, there it is. And we have now come to what will be the last song in this set, and the last song for this week. And I can't come up with any reason not to play Eat Bertha's Muscles, so we're gonna. I have done my best not to repeat the songs that I do every week, although I know full well that if I was performing at a festival and doing a series of shows, no one would care, for the most part, if I did the same songs almost every time. And that's kind of both encouraging and a little terrifying. Eat Bertha's Muscles, they're the best there is by far. You can eat them in the dining room, you can eat them in the bar. So when you're ashore in Baltimore and you fancy a bite to eat, just follow your nose to Bertha's and you'll be in for a rare old treat. Well, a sailor came to Bertha's with a problem most severe. His manly pride had been atrophied by a voyage of 14 years. He ate a plate of mussels, now he sings in a different key. His jibboom set right, he'll be back there tonight, and he's not going back to sea. So eat Bertha's Muscles. Boat anchor is the best there is by far. You can eat them in the dining room, you can eat them in the bar. So when you're ashore in Baltimore and you fancy a bite to eat, just follow your nose to Bertha's and you'll be in for a rare old treat. Well, a lady came to Bertha's who wanted a daughter or son. The doctors had said with a shake of their heads that she couldn't have either one. So she ate a plate of mussels and they sent her husband dear. She tuned up his croup, and to tell you the truth, they had triplets the very next year. I'll get it. So eat Bertha's Muscles, yum, they're the best there is by far. You can eat them in the dining room, you can eat them in the bar. So when you're ashore in Baltimore and you fancy a bite to eat, just follow your nose to Bertha's be in rare old treat. They will cure your diarrhea, thank God, cure your constipation too. Just swallow a box for the chicken pox, for the measles, or the flu. So if you fancy a healthy life, get your daily dosage straight. A plate a day of BERTHA'S mussels, and you'll live till you're 98. So eat BERTHA'S mussels, yum! They're the best there is by far. You can eat them in the dining room, you can eat them in the bar. So when you're ashore in Baltimore and you fancy a bite to eat, just follow your nose to BERTHA'S, and you'll be in for a rare old treat. Gratuitous fancy bit on the end there, after having staggered through the entire chorus, tripping over every other note. But that's all right. Battered, bruised, but unbowed, we have come to the end of another week here at the Troubadork Non-Commute Show. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. Without y'all watching this, both live and in the repeats, because I'm big in syndication, all of this would have absolutely no justification whatsoever. So I want to thank you for that. Standard stuff, you know. Tip jars are over here. It's a PayPal at the adequate. PayPal is the adequate. Venmo's at the adequate. And Eric and Robert and Rick and Emily and Miranda have all been very generous in throwing money at me. Sometimes twice, which confuses me. I'm also highly confused by the folks over at my Patreon. I'm startled to have this many Patreon peeps, frankly. I mean, look at them. Look over it. Look at them! We've got Chris and Teppo and Shay and Cascuro and Linda and Ann and Stephen and Robin and Alicia and Relly, BK and Kaylee and Richard and John and Brian and Lorene, and I'm beginning to run out of room. I'm going to have to turn this into a scroll box. I barely got it this size. Holy crap. Any money that comes to me through these things goes into making the show work properly. I played the song for the squirrels in my neighborhood, and now they chase the dogs. Oh, that's right. There's got to be a verse about squirrels. I don't know. And it will continue. We will continue to do this until such time as it seems like a good idea to stop. We haven't gotten there yet. The archives are, of course, over here at facebook.com, twitch.tv. I've been doing this now for several months, and I always point in the wrong way, because when I look at the screen, the box, which is actually over here where you're looking, is actually over here when I'm looking. And I'm pointing at the word balloons and not at the box, and just, I don't know. Look, you see it all there? It's all right there, okay? Cool. Ask Philo. The next episode will drop tomorrow morning at 1 a.m. And I can't even remember what the heck it was I was doing on that one, but I think this was going to be... which one was that? The Philo, Thibodeau, Headbecker, Kneecap, or we got... Oh, yeah. Yeah, Rednecromancer, right? Rednecromancer. This is the romance edition. I can't say it goes well, but it does go, and it's an amusing little thing, and if you listen to it, I get a penny. And if you listen to it enough, I get 2 pennies, and that's even better. But do check it out over here at anchor.fm/theadequate, or anywhere you can find The Adequate Podcast. That includes Spotify, so if you've got Spotify, you're pretty much home free. That's really everything. Y'all, it has been another week. It has been an emotional roller coaster, a mental roller coaster, an intellectual roller coaster. It's been everything except an actual roller coaster, unless you've been on a roller coaster, in which case, wow, dude, you're getting out there. We will do this again. We will do this again on Monday. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and we'll see where we are when we get there. Pretty sure I'll do it on Monday. I am taking Monday off the day job as well as Friday, so a nice little long weekend. This would normally be the weekend of Steampunk November up in Venus, Texas, which is just a bit south and east of Fort Worth. And that was where I got my start doing this. And with any luck, we can get this dang pandemic under control. We'll be able to gather together again in groups of more than 6. And we'll be able to dress in funny clothes and act weird at each other and all enjoy this strange little joke that we share And I hope to also see some conventions and some open mics and stuff like that. We'll see how we go. We'll keep doing this, though, because y'all are basically improving the quality of my life, and I'm hoping that I can improve the quality of your life. Maybe, like, trying to just move that needle just a little bit. That's everything. So thank you again. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. You've been wonderful. I have been Tobias the Adequate, and I thank you for continuing against all better judgment to encourage my behavior, and I will talk to you next time.